Welcome back to the next episode of the eCom Growth Show. I'm your host, Dana Coleman, founder of eCom Triage, and with me, I've got another founder, Arkady. And Arkady has got an astonishing tool that I am currently playing with, or my wife is. She's the one that builds our listings, but that we are currently playing with, and I was blown away by its capabilities. So I'm not going to go into, actually in this episode, we're not even going to go into a whole bunch of detail into what Flowin AI is, but Arkady, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Where do you come from and what led to the creation of Flowin AI?
Thank you, Dan, and it's a pleasure to be here. I started my foray into e-commerce actually in China. I was selling consumer goods to the Chinese public online for a while, and my most recent position was the CTO for Elevate Brands. Elevate was quite a big Amazon aggregator, and it gave me firsthand all the challenges of managing multiple brands, big brands, small brands, scaling brands, and also the challenges of the tools that were on the market at the time. I saw all the frustrations from our brand managers, our operation managers, and kind of when we sold Elevate Brands, I wanted to build kind of a new generation of the tool. We can leverage all of the new tech that's emerging around generative AI, and build an autopilot for brand managers. So Flowin is an autopilot that automates many tasks, and now focusing a lot on keyword discovery and keyword research, listing optimization, listing writing, bundling, and we have a lot of kind of creature comfort features for basically managing listings. And we have a very extensive and ambitious roadmap to automate the back end of the brand manager experience.
Yeah. Yeah, there some of the tools that are in there have been absolutely awesome. And so just so everyone knows, Arkady does not come from Wall Street investing into brands, if anybody knows what I'm talking about. And also doesn't come from Silicon Valley and decided it's just going to start a software without having any prior experience. So Arkady has a lot of experience when it comes to brand management inside in the Amazon sector. So, Arkady, I try to keep these podcasts around 30 minutes or so, 30 to 45. And so I have prepared 5 questions for you that I'm going to ask you. And if you could just give me like a short and abridged version of the answer and then go into detail, that way people can like make sure it's relevant to them. If they need to, they can skip to the next question, stuff like that. How's that sound?
Brilliant. Sure.
Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
Question number one, what do you think the impact of AI will be on the e-commerce industry and most particularly Amazon?
The question, I think that you can categorize the impact into kind of two sides of the same coin. One is going to be the consumer facing, and one is going to be the back office of the seller. So I think that there's a lot of consensus in terms of how AI, or that AI is going to impact e-commerce in general, or that's going to be one of the most impacted kind of industries by AI. And you can see by the kind of the nature of the startups that are popping up in using AI for e-commerce, it's most of them are consumer facing. So chatbots, all the kind of Uber personalization of the shopper experience, customer support, all of these things that are managing the conversation with the customer and helping customers find and discover new products. I think that in the Amazon space, the Rufus is the kind of the most dominant example of this trend. But we believe that the biggest impact of AI is going to be actually on the back end, or on the back office of the brand managers. We're looking at automation of many manual processes that was very labor intensive and involved lots of people. There's lots of opportunities to kind of change that and kind of become actually make the engine room for the e-commerce industry more automated. you know, Kind of the biggest shift that we're going to see is common tools today. They're all about processing and presenting data. You have various data providers, be it the dashboards, the Helium 10, the Jungle Scouts, but also kind of the tools that are providing you with keyword research. They're all providing data, but leaving decisions to the end users. What we're going to see is kind of transition not only of data generating platforms, but decision generating platforms, so platforms that will kind of support the seller with the next step of the data, kind of coming to the conclusion and even recommending the action for it. Another change. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I've been playing around with N8N just a little bit, trying to figure out how to build a build a flow that checks my email, references a database of all the prior emails and answers that I've given to those emails, and then draft a suggested response based on whatever is in that email. I haven't gotten it to work yet, but that is as close to decision making as I can get my to do get AI to be for me, in that, hey, I've already answered all these questions 50 times. I don't have to spend my time writing an email giving the same answer over and over again. I can have an AI go, here's the email, cool, reference these documents, great, run that through ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, draft a reply, create a draft in Gmail, and then leave it.
So there are dozens of micro decisions that a seller or has to go through every day, right? So how are they adjusting their PPC strategy? How they're adjusting their listing copy? Do they adjust their photos? Do their images need to be changed? Like all these kind of micro decisions or big decisions, you know, they're supported by data. In a good scenario, often it's just a finger at the wind. Of the shift that or the opportunity that AI brings is that all the data will be available to the system all the time, and that it will kind of be able to process larger quantities, larger data sets, and it would make even better decisions when proposing those to the operator. Another change with that respect is going to be kind of a transition from batch to continuous operations. So especially you can see it with certain activities where we do kind of these batch processes. Okay, now next month we're gonna do listing optimization for all of our catalog, or we're preparing for Mother's Day. So all of these kind of actions are performed in batches where actually there is no reason for that. The opportunity again is as soon as you get a signal that there is a change that you can make, or there is a slight optimization that you can make, you should grab that opportunity, right? Not wait to kind of the next batch processing. And like the current situation, it's understandable just because the way that the companies are structured and the people that are working on and the systems that are available to our users. But basically, there's no reason not to act on opportunities as soon as soon as they arrive. And I think kind of the third impact, or the third shift that's going to be, is from human execution to supervision and strategy. Kind of your instead of kind of 80% focusing on actually pushing the buttons and executing the the plan, updating your PPC strategy, updating your listings, and so on. Now you're going to be more in a supervisional situation where the AI suggests actions, you approve them, and then you measure them. And this allows you kind of focus more on the strategic aspects of brand managers.
Arkady, are you saying you're building an AI tool that lets you work on your business, not in your business?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think that many of the sellers initially were sold on the dream that they can kind of run their business from a couple of a couple of an hours a week, sitting next to a pool in some beautiful country. When reality kind of when you face reality, you understand that it's not always possible, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, when my wife and I started selling on Amazon, that is how we did business. We literally traveled the world, working on a computer, I don't know, 5 hours a week each, something like that, making money hand over fist. But you know what? Today, selling the same product, it's not like that. It requires a lot more work than it did for less money, quite frankly. We make a lot less money spending more time making less money. So the the reason that I jumped on to, and like I'm not, like, we know I'm not affiliated with your company at all. Um, but the reason I invited you on here is because I was so impressed with Flowin. But yeah, okay, cool. I digress a little bit from the
Yeah.
actual content of this. Let's
Oh,
let's
but you're
yeah, go
actually
ahead.
you're exactly right. I think that there is no seller in the Amazon space right now that's not feeling the pressure to do better, to sell more, to improve their margins, and
Yeah,
basically
absolutely.
what like our vision for Flowin is to turn the back office into an autonomous cockpit, right? So you have an autopilot. It flies the plane. You're still the captain. You're still in the seat, and you're still kind of grabbing the stick when it's required. But most of the kind of the day-to-day grind is done through automation and through
Yeah.
AI.
I mean, let's be honest, they did that to airplanes a long time ago. Airplanes are
Exactly.
automated.
Exactly. But it seems to me that the task is easier than selling on Amazon, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, I actually have flown a 747 from Tampa to Orlando in a simulator.
Oh, okay.
But in the simulator that is used to train pilots on. And all the bells, all the whistles, all the buttons and stuff like that is a lot of its redundancy. Yeah, it's not actually that complicated to fly an airplane. I have also flown a real airplane, but it was not a 747. It was just a four-seater. But it's not that complicated,
And how
in
does
actual
that
fact.
compare to Amazon selling?
Well, it's easier to learn these days, and easier to operate for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, let's get on to question number two. With general purpose LLMs like ChatGPT and Claude becoming increasingly powerful, what role do specialized AI tools like Flow AI play in e-commerce, and how do they provide unique value to Amazon sellers compared to the broader AI solutions like just going direct to ChatGPT or Claude or Perplexity or
Yeah.
whatever?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. We're getting asked that quite a lot, and so the general purpose LLMs like ChatGPT or Claude, they're incredibly versatile. They offer like you can do anything from generate a school essay, right, to basic data analysis, like and anything can be covered. So specialized AI tools like Flowin, they're purpose built for the unique challenges of Amazon selling, and eventually it's like comparing a Swiss Army knife with a surgical robot. Okay, so we built a tool that's specifically focused on the challenges of selling on Amazon, that uses data that's specific to Amazon, and let me give you an example. So for example, let's take a simple example like listing optimization. Well, let's say you want to automate that with ChatGPT, and you need to understand first of all like how an LLM works, right? Like it's a random word generator which you kind of give it boundaries or direction through your prompt. So the more consistent you want to get your answers and the more precise, the more complex your prompt has to be. So let's say you're an excellent prompt writer and you could have even hired like a prompt engineer who was able to build you those prompts. So let's say in listing optimization, so you need to generate a keyword list from an external, let's say, tool, right? You need to remove any violations in that keyword list so you won't by mistake use your competitor's brand name. You need to map these keywords to specific segments in the listing, because you want to be using those keywords strategically and not just dump them into the listing wherever they fall, right? You need to write copy without hallucinations, meaning that it's going to use those keywords exactly and not alter them as it creates the copy. You need to check for hallucinations and you need to check for compliance. That's overall six steps, right? And those are 6 separate prompts that you built just to optimize a listing. But now you need to train your team on them, right? You need to generate an SOP, and I know how Amazon sellers love to have SOPs, but those become very outdated, and actually, there's an SOP overload in our industry. I think that everybody would agree.
Y-
You need to,
Yes,
yeah,
but
go ahead.
uh, throwback to episode 30, you do need those SOPs in place if you want to sell your business for a higher amount.
Yeah, oh,
FYI.
I agree. I agree. But then, those SOPs, as they become so granular as to run this prompt and then this prompt and then this prompt, and
Yeah.
then you have an optimized listing, it doesn't really add a lot of value. It just adds something that you need to maintain, right? And maintenance is also very important, because let's say Amazon changes its rules about having multiple keywords in the or the repeated keywords in the listing title. Now you need to go and update your prompts and test them again and make sure that those are again providing consistent results. All of this is very, very difficult. And now imagine all of this at scale. So if you have 10 asins to optimize, that's 60 prompts to run. If you have 1,000, that's 6,000 prompts to run, and it means it doesn't scale at all, right? So specialty built tools like Flowin, basically what we have agents that are executing multiple tasks in a consistent and compliant manner, meaning that every time you press a button, you can be certain that you're getting the result that you were aiming for. That's one. Second is the data that feeds those agents. It's deeply integrated with Amazon. So we have integration with SP APIs. We have other brokers that we're purchasing data from. We have our own data models that kind of extrapolating and creating the data that's needed to perform the tasks that those agents are performing. So all these data sets, if you're running it manually by yourself with ChatGPT or some other chat or some other GPT that you created, again, you need to source the data. But then when you have the results, when you have that optimized listing, then you need to manually go and now upload it into Seller Central, or you need to send it to review to your manager. So again, kind of all these complexities around not only generating the copy, but how to make it consistent, how to make it compliant, how to make sure that the data is the right data, how to make sure that the process is actually saving me time and not just another overhead that I created for myself. Kind of that, I think that's kind of the explanation on why you need purpose-built tools, and why in some tasks like general purpose AI kind of falls short. And eventually you can spend your week kind of building prompts and optimizing and trying to create those GPTs that will help you, or you can just press optimize in Flowin and get everything with on one click.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, that's why I'm using. I actually have used GPTs uh, to optimize listings, and yeah, it's absolutely uh, pain in the butt because you always get, well, you never get consistency with unless you've got an amazing GPT, which is possible to do. Like even with my review removal GPT that I built ages ago, um, that doesn't give consistent results. And I know it's because there's certain factors missing. But also every time ChatGPT does an update to their system, now it's looking at the data differently.
Exactly.
So yeah, to have you
Exactly.
guys basically you guys are listing compliance in a software. You know, not only that, but you're also ensuring listing compliance. So
That's right.
that brings up the question, um, you know, as AI systems handle more and more sophisticated tasks, what's the, what's the right balance between machine-driven automation and human judgment?
Yeah. So a few things. I think that we're still in the early stage of AI to the point that, the sellers that we interact with, they're not fully trusting AI to just leave it to make changes in their account. They're going to make
Oh,
decisions for them.
I completely
Um,
distrust AI.
I think that the time will come where you'll feel confident to leave certain decisions to
Yeah.
AI and just let it run. I think that it's a question of the quality of tools that you need to be, to use enough well-crafted tools and to understand how to measure the kind of the quality of tools. Because right now it feels like there's a lot of noise and not everybody's kind of providing the same consistent quality. And the second thing is the nature of the task. So the way that we look at this, we're thinking about a very simple framework. So there are two axes that we're looking at. One is repeatability, and the other is certainty, or certainty in kind of the result, or how you measure the result. So basically, if you have high repeatability and high certainty, you can just offload it to AI all the way. So an example to this, for example, is if you want to um, do listing compliance review. So you mentioned compliance. One of the things you want to make sure that all of your listings are compliant with Amazon terms of service. Now that's a task which you repeat over your catalog a few times a year, uh,
Should
preferably.
be should be daily or weekly, but yeah, that's why
Well,
Catalog Defender exists.
yeah, and then you know exactly what you're checking. You know exactly what to expect, right? Like the requirements from the main images. You know which characters are allowed or not allowed to use, which keywords are allowed or not allowed to use, what are the lengths of the different components of the listing, and so on. So this task you can completely offload to AI. If we're talking about kind of listing optimization, which is high repeatability, but it has let's say a medium level of uncertainty, then what we're saying, okay, so it AI generates or AI drafts and human reviews,
Mhm.
right? If you have low repeatability and high uncertainty, for example, if you want to select new products for your product line, or you want to negotiate with some influencer, right? You need these things can be supported by AI, but it's better that they're handled by a human. And I think that offloading some of the high repeatability, high certainty tasks actually frees up the time and focus that you need for those heavy human focus tasks.
I like it. All right, cool. And so next question, this one, you can answer, oh, gloss it over or in greater detail if you want, but we are coming up on the 30-minute mark in just about 3 minutes here. So Um, as e-commerce brands aim to scale, how can AI tools help them rethink their operational strategies? Particularly, I mean, you've sort of already answered this, but let's just do this
Right.
specifically. So, as e-commerce brands aim to scale, how can AI tools help them rethink their operational strategies, particularly in areas like listing management, keyword optimization, and inventory planning?
So I think that as with every new tool that you bring into your business, you have to rework the processes and see how the current processes are supported or not by this tool. I think that AI is especially kind of a strong catalyst for this review. The way that I would approach it, I'd say this. First of all, review your current SOPs and automate every kind of repeatable click. Like if the task happens weekly and you know how to measure it or what to expect, just hand it over to the machine. All right, just
Yep, I'm literally working on that right now in my business.
exactly. The, but then it's also important, and like if you're at a place that you can go to the beach, then great. But turn the saved hours into growth, right? So, uh, um, how you now are using the time that was or the focus that was kind of freed up for you to grow your business, understand strategic opportunities for you, better understand your data, and so on.
Let me
And kind
just
of
cut in
go
on
ahead.
this. Let me just
Yeah.
cut in this. What you just said was extremely gold-filled knowledge. Okay? So when you automate something, this is what he said, right, folks? When you automate something, use that time to invest back into your business and use it for strategic growth. I historically, when I automate something, use that time to fuck off.
Well, I
And
say you can do
that
that.
you can do that. Yes.
You can do
It
that.
you can do that absolutely. But that doesn't lead to sustainable growth. If you continue that behavior, this is a hard lesson I've had to learn, is that if you continue that behavior where, cool, I'm now making this sum of money and I've automated these systems, I'm hands off. If you don't take that time to reinvest into your company, that eventually, and you just let it run on its own, it eventually leads to statistics running down. Okay, sorry, Arkady. I just had to throw that in there because I have personal experience with that statement.
Yeah, but and then I guess it's rinse and repeat. It's like, okay, update your SOPs, see what you can offload to AI, take the savings to update your SOPs and offload new tasks to AI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But all right, last question. How does AI, and specifically Flowin AI, level the playing field for smaller sellers while also providing value to larger, more established brands? What process adjustments are needed for each to maximize the AI's benefits? And I I strongly feel that Flowin levels the playing field for both is that a smaller brand has access to what a larger brand does um a lot more easily. And for, like, you used to, large brands, they have these ERPs that they've spent hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars building out. And with technology these days, AI is bringing that level of transparency or customization to small brands. That's what I think, but I want to know what you think.
That's exactly that. Like, we're with Flow, and I think that's true to many AI tools in general. Like we're covering two gaps. One is the capability gap in terms of uh, you're getting an expert with a click of a button. Okay,
Mhm.
so if you're a beginner, if you're a novice seller, what we provide to you is multiple experts available to you at almost zero cost and zero time. So that kind of expedites your learning curve. It allows you, again, to handle more strategic decisions and so on. What the other gap that we're covering is the capacity gap. So the bottlenecks for pros and for kind of big brands or high scaling brands or agencies, even usually it's in the capacity, right? They need to add more people in to grow their business, to execute those SOPs, and so on. And what our tool provides is basically it allows them to go through more volume at with the same resources at at a higher speed. Um, yeah. So basically, the gains that a novice seller would get, so they're able to cover their entire catalog at an expert level with one click. Very simple.
How many
Uh,
ASINs? How many ASINs can I do that with?
well, as many ASINs as you have.
So if
Um,
I had 1,500 ASINs, one click, your software will go through every single one of them.
well, not the 1,500 ASINs, but yeah, basically you can, if you have tens of variations, for example, for a single ASIN, you can easily update the whole variation set with the click of a button. And basically, all of the tasks, really Flowin is built in a way that a novice operator can just press next, next, next and get great results.
But I could do that with 1,500 ASINs.
Oh yeah,
So
for sure.
okay. So you're saying that with one click of a button, I can go in and optimize one ASIN, all the child listings and stuff like that. But I can't go, all right, do my entire catalog and just optimize everything all at once.
Well, not for now, and that kind of brings us back to that question that you asked, like, what can we fully automate?
Yeah.
We're like technically we're in a place we can fully automate 15,000 asins with a click of a button. That's not a problem. The challenge is, how do I make sure that you as the brand owner are confident enough in my results to say,
Uh-huh.
well, okay, now send those asins back to Seller Central and let's update the catalog. And
I've
that's
got
where
you.
kind of I need you to go through the changes individually. But technically, yeah, it absolutely is possible. And frankly, I'm sure that we'll get there. It's
Yeah.
just a question of gaining the trust of our users.
Yeah. Well,
And
look,
yeah.
if I press that button for 15,000 ASINs, whatever you produced is still better and far more time efficient than having 150 people hired to manage those 15,000 ASINs.
Yeah, so one of the clients that we're working with right now, they have a multi-brand over 30,000 ASINs SKUs catalog.
Uh,
It's a huge catalog, and they
uh,
started back in September last year. They started a listing optimization kind of process. Some of it is even supported with their custom AI that they built. And by the end of the year, they went through something like 13% of their SKUs. So like to do that, to do those tasks manually, I understand the bottlenecks, and that's why, by the way, a lot of sellers, they're handling only their hero ASINs. Like you can see like throughout the catalog is mostly neglected. You have tumbleweed
yes.
blowing
E-
back and
e-
forth.
Even with agencies, it's like that because the agencies know that the clients really only care about those hero ASINs that are responsible for 80% of their income.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
but in a way that's kind of that's a flywheel that they're self-inflicting the situation, right? Because when those ASINs are not optimized and they're just lying on the shelf in some FBA center and are just racking up more and more costs in storage costs, but like if the listings were better optimized, they would move faster, and we see those results with our customers.
Well, Arkady, where do people go to try? You guys have a trial or something?
Yeah, actually, we offer a 2-week free trial with enough credits to try all of our features end to end, and we're also offering a discount to your subscribers.
Nice.
So yeah, yeah.
Thanks.
So
Hey, Mom,
for
you get
their
a
first
discount. There you
purchase.
go. Awesome. How do the listeners take hold of that?
So they can use the code DANAN, DANAN, and enjoy the discount on their first purchase in Flowin.
Sweet. All right. I
Yeah, go
like
to
it. Well,
Flowin AI.
perfect. So listen, like I said, my wife and I are testing this. My wife did the sign up, so I didn't know about the 2-week trial, but thank you for offering the discount. Hey, honey, make sure you use the code Danon on our account. All right, good. So yeah, like I said, we are using this. I was blown away by the features that this has to offer, and in like an hour, maybe not even an hour, like Arkady brought me through a whole bunch of stuff. I forget who introduced us, but somebody introduced us. I was like, okay, cool, another AI tool. Let's take a look at it because I always want to know. But this one was like, oh my God, that's going to save so much time because my wife and our VA are literally doing in the process of doing like, I don't know, if I had to guess, 60 or 80 different listings right now.
Right.
So this has been already huge for them. Well, Arkady, thank you so much for joining the show. Any final parting words for the listeners?
Yeah, if you guys are launching lots of new listings, you have to try Flowin. It's like magic. If you're manually optimizing your catalog, you have to try Flowin. It's like magic. Just go in, try Flowin, and I'm sure that you'll be amazed.
Thanks for being on the show, buddy. I will see you later.
Thanks for having me, Dana.
You bet. Bye.